The libertarian right suffers from the delusion that if you just let people make choices, including market choices, that everything will work out for the best. But they don't understand, and they should understand, that even the small L liberals, whose ideas they're essentially utilizing, understood that individual freedom was only possible in a society that was moored in the way that you indicated with your ship analogy. Is like, once the game rules are in place, then everybody can be free to play. But if you can't agree on the damn rules, you don't have freedom. You have counterproductive, chaotic, revolutionary anarchy. The libertarian...
All right, so this will probably be a future episode. I got a lot of things in the works, but it's related to some of the things that Trent said. And it's sort of like this idea that we need like this sort of like instituted by fiat institution of rules and law. And I never want to make perfect the enemy of the good. And I've kind of tried to give the minarchists a little bit of credence here, but I'm going to be more partisan towards my anarchist leanings here. I think the issue with what Jordan Peterson said, you have to kind of ask the question, who is going to make the rules, right? Because he's saying like, well, you can be as free as you want to be, but only after there's some sort of like imposition of a system of rules that everyone is sort of forced to agree upon. But who makes the rules of the game? And I think the problem I have with the minarchist perspective, even, any statist perspective, is that if your answer boils down to a monopoly of force, a monopoly of law, I think that, and I'll use Jordan Peterson's arguments against him. Jordan Peterson says that the true hierarchies that we want to institute are hierarchies of competence and not power. But the state is not a hierarchy of competence. It doesn't form through sort of natural competition and a natural sorting mechanism. It's through fiat. It's through force. The beauty of a private property rights system, and this goes to the objections that Trent was getting at too, is that the competition's a good thing. Is because then we're able to sort out the legal systems and the law enforcement systems that work best. And that when we introduce fiat into the mix, we distort these natural sorting mechanisms in the same way that state intervention into the economy through manipulating currency creates market bubbles because of malinvestments created by the malincentives of manipulating interest rates and printing money. The state does that in the interaction in the realm of law and human cooperation, is that it creates these distortions, and then it attracts people who don't want to climb up the hierarchy of competence, but instead can just seize power and leverage power to pursue their own ends. And you have a real problem of attracting people who don't have, They don't have the interests of the people in mind, let alone Christian interests in mind. And so you always appeal to the lowest common denominator, especially in a democracy. A monarchy maybe alleviates these problems a little bit, but then we still saw that it became concerned with protecting the monarchy over the line and protecting the lines of succession and the lines of power, and protecting the monarchy over the line and protecting the lines of succession and the lines of power. And it often lent towards the people at the top not viewing themselves in that Christ-like manner of being servants for the people that they've been given authority over, but rather, as 1 Samuel 8 warns, the people become servants for the king, for the state. And that's the problem. Hierarchies of competence create leaders who are Christ-like, who serve their communities, who lead with virtue, but hierarchies of power and of force, which is what the state ultimately is, create the opposite. And that's, anyway, that's what I want Jordan Peterson to hear. That's what I want Trent Horn to hear. Free markets aren't going to create a perfect society, but the state has been proven to create an even more imperfect society than what humans can do through libertarian forms and free market forms of social organization and cooperation. When we reduce the state, we actually give the church and we give godly men the best chance at leading their communities.